Sunday. Greetings. Hello. Hi, Lawrence. How are you?
Hello there, Heidi. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you
Mother's
very much. Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas out there. I see you, Miss Jane. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's to the replay crew. And yes, today is
Day.
Mother's Day.
Yeah, and wait, before we start, I don't want to forget. We'll
Okay.
just wrap it up right away. Special
On.
special Mama's Day. A one, two, a one, two, three.
You're
Activate
frozen.
it.
Oh, there.
Come on,
Okay.
plug it in. Oh.
Now
Yeah,
we
it's
have a
Mother's
stream.
special day. It's also, always important recognize that, I'm lucky I have my mom. Some out there, they don't have their mom, or some people maybe don't have the best relationship with their mom, and but it's whoever in your life, that's at that motherly figure or what have you. But for those that still have your mom and have a good relationship,
Yeah.
you're blessed. For
Yeah.
sure, definitely.
I agree. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Carol. I
People in the
agree.
house.
And to those mamas out there doing double duty, to the fur baby mamas, to all those things, I love how Shark Week gets a week, but moms get a day.
What is that's
Hi,
something not cool
Brian.
about that.
You
Not
know,
cool about that.
Shark Weeks get a week and we get a day. I have to tell you, it's kind of uneventful. I've got a preteen and a teen, so I made my own coffee. I was up first. It's been pretty chill. It's been like a homework kind of day. So, but I'm
Okay,
doing
okay.
doing mom things. I'm doing mom things, and I ate chocolate, and I had Martin got me some gummies, so I have my gummy today.
It's it's a round the clock job. It really is.
It is. So I
You never
tied one
stop.
on today in gummy form,
Okay.
but I'm here.
Right on, right on. Um, hello everybody out there. Yeah. We're
I'll have some giggles,
well,
but I can.
one of us is a mom.
I am a mammal.
A mammal. Um, and so, you know, I want to dedicate today's episode to you, Heidi. You're the mom among us, among you and I. I am not a mom, in case anyone's wondering.
I tried to mother you. I smothered you when we were roommates. Yes,
There's,
yes.
I was actually on my, and that's a whole funny thing too about the dynamic of the mama's boy. Some of us are mama's boy, and and that's an interesting thing. That's probably a separate thing from what our show covers, but relationships and when a woman has to be partner's mom, so, kind of like take care of everything,
Mhm,
and you slip
mhm.
into those patterns. But
Yes.
yeah,
And I noticed my daughter's very maternal with her friends. Like it's a demeanor. But I
it
have to
is.
show
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, my sister. That's actually a great point because in family, we're going to talk about families today and dynamics and how that all works. It's like birth order, age gaps. For me, my sister was 10 years old when I was born. And for her, I was basically like a living doll for her. I mean, she was like the perfect age to, have this little baby brother. And she kind of dragged me around everywhere. And it's interesting because I feel like, I mean, she's just such a wonderful mom. Shout out to my sister. My sister listens to some of these.
She
Um,
rocks.
she's usually not on live, but she usually checks replays. So I love you, Laura.
Hey,
But
Laura.
yeah, she got a lot of mom practicing, if you will, because she played with me. Her
That's
living
really
doll, she
sweet.
used to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I think
And
I
so,
met you guys around when my brother was born, right? He was just little. He must
oh,
have been
Casey,
4.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
I was
God,
20 when he was born. So talk about practicing motherhood, but also being like,
yeah.
"Thank you, your turn."
Exactly. I mean, such a different. It is a big difference, right? If you've got siblings that are a year apart versus these larger age gaps, 10 years for you, 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, and just kind of the matriarchal, kind of like a wing mom,
You have the
you know?
wing mom. Yeah. Yeah. It was interesting getting pregnant. Hi, Daryl. Hi, you guys. I see you there. Even when I had my kids, I was really part of. I had a girl group. We had I had a bunch of gal pals. We went out. We had a great time. So I was the first one in the group really to have a baby. So talk about, yeah, they were passing around the doll, and then when the work when the push came to shove, I was alone. They're like, that was cute. Okay. So shout out to moms who just sometimes have to do it solo and
Shout out
learn
to
as
the
you
single
go.
moms.
Yeah.
Shout out to the single moms for sure. They're doing incredible. That's an incredible job
Yeah.
to
Do
navigate
you
all that.
do you have advice for or how can we here's what I want to say is I had two kids. It was only
Yeah,
until my second kid that that woman's, the old tribal tent, lifestyle where the community comes, they give food, they let you go sleep, they hold the baby, they nurture
yeah,
you. And it was only my second, I'll never forget. I really didn't ask for help. That was just part of my
yeah.
the way I handled things. So I was suffering, but one gal just came over and without asking, she brought me Indian food. And I thought it was I remember she sent me off to take a nap and she was going to be with my two littles, a toddler and a baby. And she had a toddler. She's like, I got this. She goes, go sleep. But I remember instead of sleeping, I was crying. I just sat in my bed crying, thinking someone made me food and I'm going to be
Yeah.
okay, and it was just sad. It was
There's a
like,
lot of good stuff to dive into to what you just said. And I'm going to first start by saying that if and this is for those among us that aren't in Heidi's situation or in a situation where a mom that could use some help, my first tip, and I think we've brought this tip up before, but this is a golden one, guys. When when we know those people that need help, it's kind of a kind thing to say, "Hey, I'm here for you whenever you need." But a
mhm,
lot of times that person that actually kind of adds a little bit of pressure to them because now they're in the position to have to ask. And
yes.
so an upgrade to that offer is to make that specific. So, hey,
Yeah.
can I help you with the kids on Tuesday and Thursday night? I'm free. Can I DoorDash you some food for the weekend, or can I make a grocery run for you? Make a specific offer, and it takes a
Mhm.
lot of the pressure off. Wouldn't you? Would you say? I mean,
Oh my
when
gosh, I
you
think,
can
yeah.
reach out to somebody and just say, "Hey," or if they're little ones, I let I can get you some diapers. By
Yeah.
making it specific, because it's just kind
Less
of vague.
pressure.
Like you mean well, but you say, "Oh, I'm here for you." How often, if you're on the other side of that, are you going to pick up the phone? You're kind of putting it on that person. So that's kind of the
Right.
tip for those of us that are in the circle of knowing someone who needs help, or in this case, specifically mom. And then, for a mom in a situation where they need help, um, remember the power of thank you
Oh,
and to eschew. Is that the word? Eschew?
es
I gotta read that word. I never use that word. Eschew,
askew? Something
shun,
askew?
avoid,
Oh,
over apologizing. Because people are just kind. My mom is like this. It's everything. I'm sorry. They're just apologizing for everything.
mhm.
Learn the power of thank you. When a
Just
friend
receiving it,
offers,
right?
thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you for that. Lean
Yeah.
into the thank you and be grateful. And it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to feel sorry. When you're in a situation where you need some help, thank you. Thank you. It will work. It will work.
Ah,
And not to be shy at, and save your sorries and your apologies for things that matter. Because we tend to be, good people like that, Midwestern people like us, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I'm running late. I'm sorry thank you for waiting. If you have to talk to somebody, thank you for listening to me. Not like, oh, I'm sorry, you don't have to hear my problems. Thank you for being there as a friend. When you do that, it feels better for you. And
mhm.
that side of, you know, receiving that, it really uplifts everybody. So those are kind of general things. then,
Oh,
there's obviously
yeah.
the specific day-to-day stuff, right, that we could talk
Yes.
about, like challenges and stuff.
Yes.
And we've done many, hey, Tony Ann, we've
Italian.
done many episodes that cover a lot of things that can make life easier. So check out our playlist, from things like, meal preparation and healthy swaps, food exposures, all these things that actually are directly related to just kind of running a household, bringing
Yeah.
bringing health into into the home. That's what we do. Um,
Yes. I'm glad you said all of that. I think, and I'm sorry, I had probably was a little unstable, the Wi-Fi for a second. I think it's I got a little
oh, it's
choppy
okay.
for a second. I hope it's okay. But that's so important what you just said. Yes, receiving, asking to receive, and the level of exhaustion. Some moms, I mean, I know there's some micromanaging moms out there, but others just drop food off at the door. Like, or just, I like you said, if had I heard I had a lot of gal pals, what do you need? What do you need? I don't know. I've never had a baby before, the first one. Um, but that second gal, how I remember is I wasn't really asked. She's like, I'm in your neighborhood. I'm gonna be there from like 12 to 3. I'm bringing you lunch and I'm gonna
Yeah,
sit with the babies. And she just and I was like, okay. But I didn't have to
that's
think.
huge.
I just received and it was such a blessing. And of course, here we are 15, 12 years later, and I can't forget it. Um, and I learned from that. I learned from that with women in the same position, or let's say not even the moms who bring home the babies or have the babies at home, even post surgery or something major where or a
Yeah,
death, um, that
yeah,
you're not sure what to do, but you feel like you should do something. Do it anyway. Maybe, you don't
sure.
necessarily need permission. You can always leave things at the door. You can always just offer what you can do.
Yeah,
And whether it's received or not in that moment, like food that'll be stored, or offer to say, hey, who dry cleans anymore actually, but like, do you have anything for the dry cleaner? Or just specific. Yeah. I'm so
yeah,
glad you brought that up. Yeah.
yeah. Exactly. I think specifics and it goes the other way too. The mom, I could use some and be specific and get that
Yeah.
clarity. And
Yeah. Yeah.
and if you have to have a little impromptu round with ChatGPT or your favorite AI assistant, and work through like what kind of language can I use? What am I? Don't be afraid to ask the internet, ask anybody,
Yeah.
um, and ask and you shall receive. And the more specific you can be, um, it just it better outcome, right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did have it was really cool after my 2 babies and my friend had a baby after me. She learned a lot from it and she's a little business gal and she's like all the things they don't tell you. She did the hospital route and she put together her own kit that she wound up selling and doing really well with, like these
Wow.
frozen underwear packs to cool off your cooch and like all these little things that it's like you don't want to ask for or Google for, like how do I
Right.
my cooch.
I'm
She
I'm a cool
she
Macooch.
yeah, she made this like box of the unthinkables kind of, that your grandma won't buy, and it was all
Yeah.
helpful. Like, oh my God, I didn't think of this or I didn't think of that. And so special, so cute. And great gifts, great gifting you can do. But yeah, people in the time of need, sometimes it's the hardest time to ask for help. It's so weird. I don't know if it's an instinct, a survival instinct, or what. I don't know what it is, but like I've been in the position where I'm like, I got this, or either it's something in me I have to prove, like I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. But deep inside
Yeah.
you're dying and you're like, damn it, I wish a pizza would fall from the sky.
Yeah.
Like I get that, receive
And
the help. Yeah.
and then that's where, the time element, time management aspect, which is it's huge, where we've covered a lot of grounds, but I'm gonna reiterate some of my favorite time management things. I mean, um, obviously, like, really good batch cooking, get really good at, and carving away, make that time. So you say you don't find time, you have to really make that
Yeah.
where it's solid on your schedule. And that's the big thing about time management is that we tend to, and this also goes into that whole like playing small thing of like, we will show up for a doctor's appointment, we'll show up for a soccer game, we show up for all these things. We have to show up for ourselves, bake it into the schedule.
Yeah.
I'm taking a nap, I'm going for a walk, And again, be prepared to completely burn that plan, but
Yeah,
it's better than not having one.
true.
But things like meal prep, having an actual strategy, you know, simple things that people forget that people know, but they forget. Eat before you go to the grocery store or before you make grocery shopping decisions. Maybe you shop, online or whatever, but like put some food in your body before you make decisions on food because your decision making process, ability is shot when you're
Yeah,
hungry.
yeah.
And this includes like, shopping for you or your family. Um, Doing that meal prep goes a long way. And, I've talked about this before. Like, if anybody's ever worked at a bar or if you kind of peeked over a bar, those little bar caddies. You can go on Amazon and they got those little doors and flaps. So your chopped up vegetables and your add-ons. Essentially Chipotlify your
Oh yeah.
kitchen, your situation, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
it basically makes for kind of grab, like kind of fast casual
I
Chipotle
like that kind
style
of stuff.
eating.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Exactly.
eating.
You know, just kind of makes it real easy. You can always load that up. I have a philosophy called the never ending salad bowl where, glass
True.
Pyrex, where you're always kind of keeping that full with,
Nice.
mixed vegetable salads and kind of always, keeping that stocked.
Yeah.
A lazy Susan in the fridge because food waste becomes important to manage
Mhm.
because there's nothing more frustrating than food sitting in the back of the fridge.
Yeah.
Pick up a lazy Susan that usually would go into
Oh, in the fridge. Oh yeah.
and get it in the fridge on a little carousel.
Keep it
Um,
rotating.
mason jar salads, right? Google that mason jar salads because definitely Google
Prep
if you've
time.
never made one because there's an order of operations with that.
Or it
You
gets
want to do
gnarly.
your dressings first, your proteins, your leaf greens on top. Um, get good at those time saving, like really put that into practice. That kind of thing is going to go a long way because hunger always wins. Right?
Hunger always wins. And you can never go wrong with any food if you're gifting. That's what I
Hunger
think,
always,
especially homemade food.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what
Um,
I'm just back to the helping the mothers. I was remembering one thing. I'm like, what if I really would ask for one thing? Would it be food? Really the hardest part, my second kid was I just wanted, and my friends would ask, what can I do? I go, please take my older, who was 3, like 3, 4, take her to the park. Just go make her let her play. And that's what they had a hard time doing. It's like sometimes you need to be alone with the baby and
yeah,
whatever else is going on in the house, the pets, the husband, the partner, the kid, other kids, get them out. Like, just help me get everybody out.
right.
Sometimes you just,
Well,
or you want to be alone, take the baby too. But sometimes you just need to be alone with them to bond and let the baby settle into you. So yeah, it was hard to get someone to help my my daughter, and we were in an apartment, so I befriended neighbors really fast.
that comes into the idea of the keystone habit and the keystone habit where we identify these tasks in our life like we say like, oh, my task is to get this food prep for the week, or my task is to walk 3 miles a day, or whatever the task that you think might be. But ultimately it's the things that are getting in the way that get forgotten about. So you need to make those the tasks. So the task is actually taking care of the thing that's in the way of
Huh.
getting to it. And if it's a time thing of like, I want time with the baby, right? There's this domino effect. If I can set up one thing where I can have somebody, a neighbor, a friend, watch my other list, that frees up that energy with the baby, and also dominoes over into other areas. That's called a keystone habit. And basically the idea is you're trying to identify big rocks to get out of the way that open up a lot of energy,
Hmm.
right?
Mm.
So it's
Mhm.
one key habit change that actually results in 4 or 5 different benefits that you didn't expect. And
That's
it's almost always
awesome.
a
Yeah.
time thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost
That's
always
true.
a time thing. Like, I mentioned an episode, but I'll give you my example of what I did as a keystone habit.
Mhm.
For the longest time, I had a problem with the morning rush, and this happens a
Oh,
lot with moms that I talk with, right? It's like
yeah.
chaos.
Mhm.
And I finally just realized I'm like, when I get home, I need to kind of give myself a hard rule. And the hard rule was before I let my butt touch a surface, I'm going to load the coffee machine for tomorrow morning, prep my lunch, and have my clothes ready.
Wow.
Simple
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But what I realized, and I just did it because I was just tired of like rushing in the morning, but what I realized is it not only helped my morning because I could just wake up, everything's ready, it helped my evening
Oh,
because
nice.
what I was realizing in the back of my head around 9:30 at night, in the back of my head, I was like, I got to do that stuff in the morning, and now I'm too tired.
Oh yeah,
So I
like, "Are my
realized
pants
was as
clean?"
soon as I
Yeah.
sunk into the couch at night, long days when I was working at the doctor's office, be like, I don't want to do this stuff, so I'll put it to the morning. So by doing that single thing of like, I get home and I get this stuff done for tomorrow morning,
Mhm.
it it solved like 6 problems that I didn't even know I had.
Mm. Mm.
I
Mm.
slept better. I sleeping better because I had less on my mind at night.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's awesome, and that's discipline too, isn't it? Discipline and not
It's
being lazy in
discipline
the
just to
moment the night before.
but
Yeah.
it's discipline to really just do one thing though.
One thing that trickles to the others. Yeah, like the
That
keystone,
was
yeah.
really what it was just saying like, okay, when you first get home, there's an adrenaline from the day that you still have a little bit of tank left. And,
Mhm.
but again, once you sort of hit a surface and sink into a silver
Oh,
zone,
yeah.
it gets hard. It's just trickier to pull yourself up and to get these things done. So I just realized I was trying to leverage where my energy was. And by getting out in front of it, it just carried over.
Mm.
And
Mm.
that's something that, it's going to be different for everybody's schedule. It's going to be different for everybody's day.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it makes yeah. I love it. I get it. I remember that with those crafty days on my feet, 14 hours. We came home, but you had to finish the dishes. You gotta do this because you're
Yeah.
not gonna want to do it at 4 or 5 in the morning. Yeah.
Y-
Get her done.
you,
Yeah.
you know that it's just like it's waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's a game of always looking out for your future self.
Yeah. I
And
like
that's
that.
what life is
Yeah.
like, a game of really looking out for that future version of yourself that's going to be real proud that you took care of her or him.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I just had a pep talk with my daughter because she starts to get in her head. She's got some deadlines for some big projects, but it's like you're your own worst enemy, really. Like if you spiral, it's going to be harder, and you're only going to have yourself to feel about it. Like how amazing it would be to empower yourself, being like, I did that. Like I one foot in front of the other, a little bit of discipline, it'll make things go so smooth. So
Yeah.
so super important for all ages.
Collect those wins and get the kids also, don't be ashamed to get kids involved. And in fact, remember, for a child, we know this very well. You're an educator, Heidi, and it's play, housework, chores, things that adults kind of associate with, um, you know, drudge, and oh my God, it for kids it's play.
Mm. Mhm.
It
That's
for kids
everything.
it's
Yeah.
helping out. So leverage that, take advantage of that. As soon
Yeah.
as they get old
Yes.
enough to do it, let's go.
Oh, yeah. Do you know we have this was another, Mother's Day thing. I don't really someone text me, "You got someone do your laundry for you?" I'm like, I really don't do the laundry. Everybody does their own laundry. Like the kids, the giant,
Yeah,
like you take care of yourself a little bit so it's not all put on one person. And the food,
bro.
the giant's got some signature dishes. Mwah. And he cranks them out when he can, and they usually last us a couple days. And then we have our basic, like, rhythm and routine is kind of important too to keep that stress down.
Absolutely.
It's doesn't have to be you don't have to be stagnant or boring, but if you do have an ebb and flow with things, food wise even, and routine and schedule wise, it'll be a lot less stressful. So that's why today's kind of like, well, it feels like regular day. It didn't go out of the ordinary, but that's a good thing. Like I'm not jarred. I'm not gonna like lose sleep. Although I had an extra gummy. I know I already said that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Speaking of, how is CBD THD for parents, for mothers, for recovery? If they're not breastfeeding, what's your thought on
I
that?
I
Or is
I
that a whole
I'm all
spinoff?
for it. I mean, we have we have endocannabinoid receptors in the body, so it's clear that we have this internal endogenous system, lock and key fit for things.
Mhm.
Um, and look, and I always see it as it's part of a bigger strategy. Obviously we look at all these ways, like questioning of like what are we looking for to get out of this,
Mm.
and then let's not leapfrog over. What's important whenever we kind of bring up these sort of things is like important to always go back to the basics of, are we breathing correctly? Are
Uh-huh.
we in through our nose, right? Like always mention that, because you don't want to leave money on the table for the easy stuff. Or
Mm.
like if you got like a deviated septum and polyps in your nose and your mouth breathing all night, you're gonna be spun out. You're not gonna get good sleep. In other words, like going to like a CBD or going to like you get a little more root based the problem. But
Gotcha.
when all those things are kind of set, and we need a little extra something,
Mhm.
works well.
Mm.
It can work really well.
Mm.
Um, I think like
Cool.
cycling as well, kind of avoiding dependencies, could be meaningful too. I
Oh,
feel
sure.
like the older I get with a lot of this stuff, the more I question. We're in a culture where it's like daily. Like you got to take this supplement daily. You got to do this everything daily, daily. Nature's not really set up like that. We're set up for times of feast, times of famine, times of deprivation, and I think we almost have to build that in systemically to our routine. To your point, Heidi, about we need a certain amount of order in life,
Mhm.
right? So that there's a predictability and a safety, but enough curveballs and chaos, whether voluntarily imposed or not, is useful. I think it's useful because we do have to do hard things.
Mhm.
Do hard things during easy times, so that we
Mhm.
can handle hard times
Mm.
easier.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we do. There's that fine line, is like the thermostat's always at 72, bedtime's always at not like every once in a while, do an all nighter. Every once in a while, get cold. Go camp. Go.
Yeah.
Get get miserable. Like just
Try
a
something new.
little toughen it out and when
Yeah.
life is very easy, we tend to we need to then kind of go out of our way to introduce a little bit of chaos.
Yeah.
So there's a
We
fine
get
line.
too comfortable. There is a big fine line. We can get too comfortable. I don't know if you saw my post. The kids each tried some major out of their comfort zone this week. Well, Charlie just got back this week from her big 8-day trip away or 7-day trip, and in the woods. But 18 hours of that trip, she was solo in
Mm,
the woods. She had just a sleeping bag and a
wow.
switchblade, and then sandpaper for her hiking walking stick, which looks gorgeous. That's it. 18 hours by herself. Like the next people, I mean, yell or whistle away, but she's in her own, has to make her own shelter, all that kind of stuff. Something shifted in her, and she got out of her comfort zone for sure. And she did whitewater rafting, which we didn't know she'd really take on, but she loved it. And little man did paintball for the first time. He
There
was
you
really
go.
concerned about getting hurt, but he got really empowered from it. He's like, didn't really hurt. It was all right. I did all right. And then he really
Yeah.
just it's the I watched them at the age they are now going into something new that they haven't done before, something that will challenge them, that they're going to have to dig
Yeah.
deep for and pull up their bootstraps and be brave about. And they came out on the other side. And it's like
I love it.
my little motherly wink nudge to them was like, wasn't that worth it? And also like, isn't your body, aren't you amazing that you can do that and overcame that? So it's
I
kind of a
love it.
cool little step of changing it up every so often is a good thing, especially when you introduce something cool and fun like whitewater rafting.
Where the things you mentioned are kind of perfect examples of where there's an element. It's like it's a little risky. It's a little, it's not too crazy, but it's enough to shake them awake out of their out of their comfort zone. So I think that's brilliant, and I actually think that that is really what brings a lot of meaning to all of our lives. Is like when feel a certain challenge and can get through. I mean, life without that, I think that that kind of goes into the whole participation trophy culture and all that. Is like again, I got the baseball in my hand. It's before the
Oh
show.
yeah.
Well,
So you mean the golf
and
ball? Looks
The
like a
go
golf
yeah,
ball.
anybody that like, my hands are enormous, like, I can yeah,
Jeez.
and I was a great baseball player when I was a kid, but, there was one particular game where I just got shelled. I was pitching and I just got wrecked, and it was just like, crying the whole way home, and,
Oh.
my dad wasn't like whether this is old school or not, but it wasn't like, "Oh, you're great," like, it was just kinda like he just was sitting there like, "Sucks, doesn't it?" But it was like,
They didn't
remember that
coddle you and be like,
feeling?
"Oh, it wasn't you."
It
It was
was
like,
it
"No,
was
that's you
like,
played a
"What do you
sucky
gotta
game."
do to get better? What do you
Yeah.
gotta get better?"
Yeah.
And, it's it's an approach, but it was like, "Yeah, what do I gotta do to get better? It's okay that it's okay to cry your eyes out and feel absolutely miserable and tortured over it. It's gonna be disappointment." It's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, kid,
Oh.
sucks. There's going to
Oh.
be times in life that are gonna suck. This
Yep.
feeling you right now, rather than being like, "Oh, yeah, that's the feeling." That's what that feels like. Get used to it, buddy. There's gonna be more. You're gonna fail. Like, just
Ha
embrace the
yes.
suck,
Embrace the suck. And how do you
Yeah.
handle it? Yeah, how do
How
you
do you
come out on the
handle it?
other end? It's not gonna suck for the rest of your life. You have coming out of it is the champion move.
Yeah.
Sure, you lost that moment, but how did you handle the rest of the
We
moment?
won the championship, by the way, at the end of that year.
Oh, hey, hey, hey.
Wow.
See? Awesome.
But, the ball doesn't always bounce, the way you want it. And so it's, order
I
and
get it.
chaos management day to day, and if you're a single mom and life is nothing but chaos and you got to get yourself out of a hole, it's a different story. If you're in a situation where
Yeah.
you're very comfortable, that's a different story. And everywhere in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah. Survival mode's no joke. And that's for any parent who's going through it. That's another way though, even like when you bring a baby home and get that food train or a death in the family, same thing. If you see a mom in survival mode spinning out, or even the dad, throw a little gift card on their their
Yeah,
doorstep
you
or
got to
something. I
step
mean,
up.
sometimes I call them the honey badgers because I was in that state. That's my best analogy. People would come to her and I'd be like, you're protecting your kids, you're twirling plates, you're putting food on the table, but you're also like, don't fuck with my routine. I'm barely keeping it together.
Yeah.
Gift them. Order them a pizza. Yeah. That's funny. I keep spinning back to that. I've been reflecting a lot this spring, especially this last week, and I think that's imperative for mental health to pull up some
Yeah.
of the old stuff, even look at it with more mature eyes or having grown more, just been wise to more things, to look back at your younger self and just heal. Even the wounds that you thought
Yeah.
were done, you put them to bed. Sometimes it's okay to unpack those a little bit and look with your older eyes and just hold space for yourself and be like, wow,
Notice the
that
change.
sucked.
Notice the change. Mark the change and note. And when you notice the change, then it reminds you that the change is possible, because we're in a slow simmer through life where we don't even realize how far we've come, and that everything, as they say, it's cliche, but everything around you that you have is something that you once wanted.
Yes.
And all that you have in your life, that mental exercise is hard for Westerners, but it's very Eastern way of leaning into inevitability, is like all around us that we love and cherish will be gone. And that reminder is powerful to really appreciate and lean
Mhm.
into gratitude. Cliche, but
Yeah.
worth that exercise. And yeah, because we don't always know. We just live in life, and the days are long and the years are fast, as they say. And then it's
Yes.
5 years later, and you go, "Wow, I am like in a completely different place." I
Yeah.
give myself credit,
Yeah.
and there's a lot
Yeah.
of growth.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's a
You
lot of growth to be found.
Yeah. Looking at things with new eyes too, you can find some forgiveness that you didn't know you had before, or you didn't know even know a moment you
That's
had
a
to
huge one.
forgive. Yeah, forgive it and let it go. And yes, Daryl, I know I brought up pizza like 4 times already. I'm
Too.
always
I'm
in the
right. I
mood
was gonna
for
say
pizza.
I'm on pizza at this point. How about y'all? I don't know y'all, but I am like dying
I'm
for
like
pizza right now.
sublimity. And hi, Joe Fox. How the heck are you? Yay, Joe Fox in the house.
Joe Fox.
Joe, we're just talking
Well,
about
thanks for the compliment,
Ian.
Joe Fox.
Yes, Joe Fox rocks. Joe Fox, how are you feeling?
Joe
How are you
Fox
doing?
rocks.
How are you doing since we last checked in? I think that was 2 weeks ago. I'm curious how you're
Yeah.
doing. How'd your numbers go? I think you were getting your blood checked. Oh, Midwest, you probably have the best pizza where you are. Oh, their pictures. They
Look
have.
at this thing.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, they got the goods.
yeah.
Did you ever get out of or what's your take? We're both Chicagoans, but are you still Chicago pizza guy, Lawrence? Or are you have you calibrated to California now? Let's just get into this debate now. I know we're talking about
Okay.
mothers. So let's talk pizza.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say I've kind of what I've learned to just do is just to just my expectations are these are just different things. like let's not let's put this into a different bucket. This is whatever this is out here, pizza. It tastes good. It's a good tasting.
Good combo.
It's just
It's not pizza.
it's different. So I think it's just
Yeah.
I've just learned to be like I can't hold you to the same standard. Happy Gilmore should be held at the same standard as like Schindler's List or something. They're just different.
Oh, yes, they're just different. Yep.
It's different. Once in a while, once in a while, I want a pie. Deep dish.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Big old.
Oh yeah. Apples to oranges. So no one will ever win that war. Yeah. Yep. And then I'll see some show and then see that big old New York when they fold it over, and I'm like, that looks good too. So I'm like, I just like pizza.
I can't be mad at it.
You can't be mad at it.
I have a great spot that does more like the classic New York stuff than slice style down the street from me, and they use I didn't even know this, but they use like imported flour from Italy, and because I'm a little bit gluten intolerant, so I remember I didn't even care that it was from Italy or I just wanted pizza, and I digested it so well.
Nice.
That Italian wheat, not a problem.
Of course. Yeah.
By my damn self.
Good.
It was amazing. Yeah.
Good.
So,
good. Don't you think everybody's intolerant at this point to gluten? Like the inflammation is just wreaking havoc on people's
there's
bodies.
just so much beyond. Yeah. I mean, my take is there is a difference between domestic. I think that for many years I bash gluten down, but then when I was in practice and I had so many patients coming in telling me about their trips to Italy, to France, to Europe, where they would eat foods that could because look, you want to have a croissant or a baguette in France, right? You want to eat pasta in Italy. You want to do those things. And even my patients that had GI issues, those foods in the States just simply didn't bother them when they were in Europe. And I heard this so many times that when I went to Greece in 2019, I just went off. I had as much bread. I was like, let me see. And I was just perfect. So, I think that it's a little bit beyond. Obviously, there's higher concentrations in a lot of ways in domestic. We have these hybridized wheat crops, but also the GMOs, the chemical load as well. So I think, we have a lot of gut issues in this country because of all these things that just compromise junctions in the gut and whatnot. So
yeah.
Sidetrack. It's a digression, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Well,
pizza.
So
look, pizza's like when you need something quick.
it's fabulous. Yeah, we got a couple places. I finally got. We do have a couple rules though when we do it. I won't do the chain because of the inflammation. I just feel it as I'm eating. Even my teeth swell. Like you can just feel it. I'm like, this isn't. But it's a smaller chain. Well, there's a chain near us that has the whole. Your Whole Foods, I guess, to it that we don't get that reaction to. So that's what we stick to.
And there's homemade stuff too. Like you guys want to. I mean, and there's nothing more fun than that. I mean, as far as a group activity, it's like building your own pizza with your kid. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of healthy ways to do that. So
yep.
Hang on, sugar. Oh, plant-based food. So many things.
Joe.
So yeah, Joe, you're doing a carnival day. Bathroom activities. I love it. Interesting. Keep us posted on this. I'm excited about the journey here, Joe. This will be fun.
Joe, you're killing it. I love it. I see the bathroom activities. Yep. That's that's important. That's important. How often should
No
you
joke.
clean out your bathroom activity area?
I think that
I need to
stuff
get a
is
new
all.
enema bucket.
I think that stuff is subject to the person to person. Like
Okay.
generally speaking, if you're eating in a whole food single ingredient, what I mean by single ingredient is like your meals are composed of just single ingredient,
Like food, you're not
modular
taking a package.
food. If you're eating
Yeah, yeah.
like we have a lot of toxic pathways built in, and our body
Mhm.
should be well suited to handle that. But in modern life, we're exposed to, so yeah, if you're eating standard American diet, or if you have and now you don't want to anymore, your detox needs might be greater. There's a lot of scammy whammy stuff out there on detox. That's
Okay.
probably a
Oh
great
yeah.
show that we could talk about.
Oh yeah. There
Um,
should be a whole show on detox, I think. Hmm.
because what does that mean? Because detox is a very general term. You're talking about parasite cleanses, you're talking about just pooping better. you
Hmm.
know, um, just knowing this, that if you're carrying excess body fat, just simply losing weight is, to me, a form of detox. And you
Hmm.
are gonna often release, there's a lot of toxin stored in body fat.
Mm.
So the process of losing weight, in a sense, is detoxifying, and it also adds a little bit of extra need for liver especially, assistance. So
Hmm.
things like your dandelion root tea, your milk thistle, there's kind of like real basic standbys that people can use. The good old fashioned water with lemon,
Oh yes.
um,
That's a good morning
bone broth.
rush.
And I'll tell you what, bone broth. What's so very interesting is that people don't see bone broth is a detoxifier.
Is
Absolutely
it?
is. And
I thought we just give it
and
during sickness and
one of the main reasons is that it's rich in glycine.
oh,
And to the
bone broth.
point of
Okay.
glyphosate. And Stephanie Seneff, MIT scientist, was the first to come on the scene with this idea. Um, the gly in glyphosate is glycine. It will sit in receptors where glycine should occupy. And bone broth is one of the few foods that we get that's pretty rich in glycine. Another one's Jello, by the way.
Jello?
That's the healthiest thing that people can get in
The
in the
good
hospital.
the clean Jello?
Jello, just
Oh,
gelatin.
just
Yeah,
any
it
Jello?
has a
Okay.
amount. Obviously, we want to avoid the stuff that's got red number this, yellow number, so that's all going away anyway. Bye.
Yay.
But um, glycine, really important amino acid for revving up glutathione production and
Okay.
detoxing, helping heal tight junctions in the gut. It's about a third of our collagen needs as well. So it's actually good stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Lemon, water, all that stuff.
Yes. Did you see Garrel saying a farmer near him is doing wood oven pizzas with all fresh ingredients, not very far from him. Oh my
Make
goodness. That's
friends
where
with
we're
that
going when I visit.
farmer. West Night Watcher, make friends with the farmers.
Oh my gosh, yum.
And that's the other thing about that, to the point of this. And this is a very Chicago thing, Heidi,
Uh-huh.
where I'm going to go with this.
Oh, I
It's
think I
really
might already
important.
know.
It's really important to like have a guy,
Oh
you know, like
yeah.
make friend. Like, I got a guy. That's
I
a
got a
Chicago
guy.
thing. Like I got some plumbing problem. I got a guy. Electrical
You guys
problem.
are, I
I got a
got a
guy.
guy.
Guy. Car trouble. I got a guy. You
Yes.
know the
Yes.
tow truck people and the people that
Yes.
can fix things, and it's like, and they love it. Believe me, people like that love to feel useful. One of the greatest things being a guy, sorry to be, if this sounds sexist or whatever, is to just help the damsel in distress and be there.
Aw,
I'll fix it. I'll
yeah.
get in the
Of
crawl
course.
space. I'll crawl up I'll get in there. I'll clean out the pipe there. It's so have a guy.
Have a guy.
Have a good network, and it's reciprocal. Maybe you can,
Yeah.
bake them healthy cookies, and
Especially when it's a
they'll
small
they'll
business or
clean
something.
your furnace if you're in the Midwest. You know about that. We don't really have that trouble out here,
Yeah.
but annual furnace check. Things that,
The furnace guys.
upkeep, maintenance, stuff that women often don't want to deal with. I hate to say it, they just don't.
True.
Am I sound
I mean, yeah.
1960s madman here?
No, you
Dirty
don't.
deeds. Dirty deeds are done the cheap Hey,
Like that commercial. Oh yeah, there's a commercial. Dirty deeds. Yeah, that song. But here's I remember that
or
commercial. I
as I
gotta
like
get
to
to that.
say, 30 Thieves and the Thunder Chief. That's one of my favorite misheard lyrics by AC/DC. 30 Thieves and the Thunder Chief.
Oh gosh.
But yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it takes a village.
Yes. And if everybody's got a guy, everybody's got what they need. So
You
community,
know,
build your
sometimes you need to
community.
bring in the relief pitcher. Sometimes the guy in the ninth inning is needed to shut him down.
Yes. Joe Fox, doesn't that look like a golf ball in his hand?
I
He's got
actually have like a so they have this website I went on years ago where like it's like how do you measure up like yeah, it had like hand size and stuff. And my hand is like in the 99.9 whatever percentile. I have freakishly large hands.
Yes, you do.
And yeah,
Yes, you do.
there's
And
like
yes, but you also are very tall. So you're a very tall person. How much would Robert Pablo go? Look at
how much Rob Lowe could Rob Lowe's.
that's awesome. I like that one. And Carol, absolutely. Sometimes you have to have a guy for the bad things too. Yes.
Sometimes there needs to be, you know, you got to go to the dark, you know.
Got to call that 6-digit number.
For any Dodgers fans, it's probably going to appeal to approximately like one person maybe out there. But you know, Shohei Ohtani the other night, nice, sweetheart of a gent from Japan, very courteous, gracious guy, came up ninth inning and sent a nuclear missile into space. Right, hit a home run, and he was kind of mocking the player on the other team who had celebrated in the earlier innings, and was joking with my girlfriend. And I was like, "Dark Shohei activated, man. You know, he just went dark Shohei. It's like sometimes we all have a shadow self,
Oh yeah,
and sometimes you
absolutely.
just get dark. And he went dark. He doesn't usually celebrate home runs, but he's like, I remembered your little taunting that you did to my team earlier, and now I'm gonna taunt you, right? Sometimes you know, fire got to fight some fire.
That
All
shadow,
there.
yes, that shadow side. You just gotta
So
embrace it, merge them, let them
shadow side
balance,
matters.
let them high five.
Shadow side. Yeah. The
Yes,
dirty deeds, right?
the dirty
We all need
deeds.
to reach into the into the
Oh my gosh.
toolbox.
Oh my gosh.
So
I love it. Well, yeah. Well, thank you,
and
Lawrence.
and
Yeah.
I think that that's also to kind of round that out and make it relevant is like roles in the house and it goes like, you know, there are these traditional roles and then within that I mean it's very funny just to talk about my sister for instance. She's a mom in every way, but she actually doesn't enjoy cooking.
Uh-huh.
But luckily, her husband, who's like a guy in every way, fixes everything clean, you know, carpentry, all that. He loves to cook, right? So sometimes it's traditional until it isn't. Whatever's going to
Yeah.
work, whatever's going to be symbiotic. I mean, things need to get done. We get lucky when we have complementary, you know, relationships, interdependent versus codependent. Very important
Oh,
distinction.
very
All right,
important. Mm-hmm.
independent, codependent, but interdependent, and knowing where you need help and knowing to ask. I think look, it's very straightforward, but it's not always easy to do in practice because of these behaviors that we learn. That sometimes we have to unlearn. It's okay to ask.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes. It's okay. Yes. Rounding it
Yeah.
back to the mamas out there. It's okay to ask for help and not be specific. Just say, yeah, just however you can help, please. You tell me what you can do. I'll take it.
People actually really do want to be helpful. I really believe that. I
Yeah.
think that there's
It
something in people that they want to be the person that can help somebody.
I think that's the fastest, surest way to make yourself feel better and like get yourself in this divine love
Go help
frequency.
people.
Help somebody. It feels
Go
so
help
good.
somebody.
And it's the little things. It's the little things. It's smiling at the crabby cashier. It's holding a door. It's just the little things. It makes the instant gratification buzz. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amen
Yeah.
to that. You
Yeah.
want good friends in your life, be a good friend. If the things that we want in our life just exemplify that. You attract who you are.
Yeah.
I really believe it.
Yeah.
I really believe it. So
Aw.
Mother's Day
Okay.
2025,
Mhm.
not too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah.
Not
Super
too
chill on
bad.
this end. Yeah, I
Super
kind of
chill.
what's so funny is I told no one to get me flowers because you don't see them. There's a few here, but I'm surrounded because it was Teacher Appreciation Week as well. So I was getting flooded. And then our flowers here, our roses are popping off so bad. So I'm like, unless you get me a plant or flower, special flower, I'm good on the greens.
Oh, Heidi.
Yeah. I'm back. I'm back in that realm. Um,
Yes. Dark Heidi activated.
Law of attraction. Yes, Joe.
Exactly.
But I
Law
wish I
of
could show you.
attraction.
My son made me a deed like with this little wax stamp and like burned edges and like dear mother with like calligraphy ink pen and he put this love and it was really cool. It's like a framer.
Those are
And
the
then I
coolest things in
it's
the
the
world, aren't
coolest
they?
things. Yes, I should share a picture next to my
Yeah.
nightstand, but next to my bed is all those kinds of trinkets. And from kids, I have like little Care Bears, I have collages, I have homemade crocheted things and all this random stuff, but I love each and everything. So saving
Yeah.
all those rocks. So enjoy everybody. I hope
Those are
everybody enjoys their Mother's
the
Day.
coolest things, the refrigerator artwork and the handmade craft and the slightly wonky little whatever that they put together for you. It's all beautiful. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's sweet. So I'm gonna relish in those. And we have leftover Indian food, so it's Indian food all day.
Whoop, whoop. Right
Up in
on.
my spinach. Yes. Well, yeah. So I guess we got to start crossing off things on our
We're
list
kind of
again. We got
yeah. We're bringing it down, closing to the wire
closing
here.
it down.
Where's
Thank you, Joe
yeah?
Fox.
Is Bo?
Bo's not even
Is
here. He might be full
ah.
too. Is he not sitting by me even? He might be on his walk. Actually, I heard someone sneak out the back. It might be walk time. It's been hot, so we're gonna get down to cool weather. So, yeah, Bo's been
Yeah.
doing Bo things. He's getting a little older too. So happy! Cheers to the dog moms out there.
Dog
um,
moms are a thing.
Dog moms are a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yep.
are a
Especially in
thing.
LA.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, this was
Shout out to
sweet.
all the
And
moms.
shout out to all the moms. And I'll check in with you again next week. I don't know if every Tuesday is easier for you, but whenever I can snag you, I'll snag you for a little convo. I love to hear your 2 cents. And I do hear all the time. I heard again this week from a different mom friend who just loves how you put things together. So thank you again, Lawrence, for all that you do and all that you share with these communities. You are a wealth of knowledge and you do have a nice way of perspective, a nice way of putting things. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with us.
You're very welcome. And thank you for giving me the platform for
Totally. Anytime. Holler. Coasters or not.
and
Just kidding.
just keeping things simple, keep it as simple as you can. Life is
Yeah.
complicated enough. Gotta
Yeah.
keep things simple.
Yes. Yeah. We should. Yes. Yes. And happy Mother's Day, everybody. Happy Grandma's
Happy
Day.
Mother's Day. Happy Grandma's Day.
Um, Joe, one more thing. Thanks, Carol. Thank you very much. Big hugs to you guys. Uh, and then Joe said, I was never blessed with children, but my current age is 60. I find myself thinking about it quite often. I bet you never know who you run into or who you can infect just in your town
Well,
by being a great mentor.
mentorship is really rewarding. Volunteering is really rewarding. Relationship is really it's built on generosity, reciprocity.
Mhm.
It's always available. That's always available. So
Yeah. Get
gonna
out there,
find it.
Joe.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Lawrence. I'll check in with you again soon. And you have
for
a
sure.
beautiful rest of the Sunday. Have a great
I
rest of your
shall.
weekend. I'm gonna
You too,
enjoy the rest
Heidi.
of my gummy.
Get at that gummy.
Bye, you guys. Thank you very much. Cheers to you and have a beautiful, blessed week.
Cheers.